Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Caught on the Mic. I've got two certified musical felons joining me today, the Codefendants. I got Sam and Ceschi. We're talking about their explosive new single, Rivals, featuring hip-hop legend and your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the legend, the D.O.C. What fans can expect from their upcoming album, Lifers, dropping April 3rd. And the next single, Lonely Life, starring Jakob Nowell in the video. Punk and hip hop and no rules. I absolutely love it. Sam, Ceschi, thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having us. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. Like I said, I'm jealous of your weather. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it fucking sucks outside.
Yeah, it's pretty nice out here.
Kind of a chilly day here today. It's like low 70s, I believe.
That's a good day here, man. That's a good day. Let's get right into it. Rivals is your second collaboration with the D.O.C. What made you guys want to run it back after Fast Ones?
Oh, man. The D.O.C., the way we look at it, our relationship with him is he's always going to be a co-defendant. Do you know what I mean? Like, in our hearts, he's a part. He's a part of the band. Whenever he wants to do something with us, he's always beyond welcome and invited. And, when we started this second album, Fat Mike came up with the music. He called it slow punk, and it was inspired by early 1980s, like sludgier punk from the early 80s LA. And we immediately thought D.O.C. would be sick on it. We wanted to hear his voice on it.
Punk rock and hip hop has always coexisted, whether people realize it or not. Like, I mean, you think back, like, Blondie having Fab Five Freddy in the Heart of Glass video and the Clash's music, and it's amazing. So how did the initial conversation about like punk gangs versus Compton gangs turn into the concept for this track?
I think it was just, the obvious correlation with like some of the like craziness that D.O.C. came up around when he moved out to the LA area with all that stuff, and just us growing up in the Bay Area in San Francisco, Ceschi over in the Berkeley area, Oakland area, and then him going to I don't know. It just organically just came together. I mean, we've always known somebody that's in some kind of weird gang throughout our whole lives, but that's just been being a teenager in the 90s, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and I think D.O.C.'s stories about the early death row days triggered a lot. Like it kind of got us thinking about a lot of that. And it was actually a combo between D.O.C. and Fat Mike, because Fat Mike, the way he talks about the early he's in Los Angeles and the punk gangs, that was something that the chaos of that whole time. I mean, Fat Mike's been at shows and seen people stabbed in front of him and killed in front. In the early 80s, it was chaotic. So I think it was sort of his idea to begin with, to bring that up, while we were also kind of talking to D.O.C. about the early days of Death Row and the crazy shit he had seen,
That's a good call out, because there are very similar vantage points from the early days of punk and the early days of West Coast hip hop, as people call it, gangsta rap. Yeah, man, I hadn't even thought about the early days of Death Row. I'm a nerd about that shit, by the way.
Like Sam, I mean, you were there when D.O.C. was recording that story about Death Row. That I don't think it's come out or anything, but
yeah. I know. Can I talk about? Am I allowed to talk about that shit? Yeah. He was there when I met him. He was at Fat Mike's house on location, because he was they were doing the documentary and they were filming all these interviews, and he was just telling this story about an acquaintance of his was the guy that owned the rights to Death Row, the actual name, and they wanted to sign it over. And Suge Knight asked the guy, and the guy said no, and they were in an office. And then these other guys came in, and he started beating this dude down to death, and he was like grabbing onto like D.O.C.'s leg, like looking up at him, being like, "Yo, Doc, help me." And he was like, he said it great when he said, like, when he came from Texas, he was just a musician. He was just like a young kid, he could just write. He was just writing for gangster rappers and stuff like that. And then he had to kind of like put on the face while this guy was getting beat down, you know, even though he was scared to death. But, you know, that was the type of people he was around where like there were real consequences and you could really get fucked up.
Yes.
I mean, look at Vanilla Ice.
Yes. I was going to call that out too.
It's like humorous to think about, but like if you were old Rob Van Winkle fucking hung outside of a hotel room like Michael Jackson's baby, dude, it'd be a different story.
For sure. So what does working with somebody like the D.O.C. bring creatively that challenges you guys or elevates you guys?
He's got a strip club.
Was he the owner of that strip club?
I don't know. He seemed like the owner. If not, he was definitely the mayor.
He definitely made the call, so you weren't completely fucking arrested that night.
Yeah, or beaten up.
Yeah.
I did almost get away with
when D.O.C. snaps his finger at that strip club, everyone listens.
Fucking A. Yeah, but hey, maybe for giving me glass objects near concrete. I don't know.
Or fucking golf carts on the premises.
Hey, there's a long history, you know.
Like so what's the story behind this, guys?
It's just just you know the age-old tale of an Irishman and his whiskey
at a strip club.
Yeah. Exotic games.
Should actually answer that question, the original question, though.
What's that?
Oh yeah. What did he bring to you guys that like challenges you or elevates you?
Yeah, I mean, he's fucking. For one, he's one of the great, if not the greatest, hip hop fucking writers of all time. You know, he's like the lyricist, like you said. He's like every rapper's favorite rapper. So just to even be in a room with the guy is fucking humbling, let alone be able to collab not once but twice on you know, on some shit. And it's been awesome to see him fucking just like work with Fat Mike and, you know, work through some shit, even though he wasn't 100% confident with his voice. It's like through punk rock and that hip hop, you know, melding right there. You got to be in a zone where punk rockers are like, nah, fuck that. That sounds good in our world. You know, you don't have to have this smooth voice. So
yeah, I think it's felt like some sort of liberation for him to just be able to use his natural voice, and we love it. We love how it sounds on that shit.
Hell yeah. And it sounds great on that track for sure. So, you know, you kind of mentioned growing up as teenagers in the 90s, and we talked about the hip hop and punk kind of crossing paths and sharing countercultural roots. We kind of evolved to today, and we live in this age of streaming where people don't look as genre boundary lines quite like they used to. How has that affected your guys' experience, like blending the styles of music that you guys do? Did it come across naturally, or is that something you guys had to work towards?
I think it's pretty natural. We grew up listening to all of this music, so when we started making our own stuff as kids, even, we were already blending all these sounds. I mean, I've heard stuff from Sam on old cassettes that Sam did where he's clearly doing punk rock songs, but with samples and with drum machines and stuff. And I did the same thing. We both were influenced by all of it. This is just a natural progression for us.
Yeah, I don't think we've never once been in the studio and said, okay, we have this song. Now we have to blend it with another genre.
Yeah.
You know, we make whatever we make. And, you know, it takes a minute to get there sometimes it doesn't. Me and Ceschi live together. He has to deal with me. I just sit here and just like try to make melodies all day, any chance I get, whether it's going to be a drum and bass song like we're fucking with this morning, or, you know, or Ceschi playing this straight Spanish guitar or like a cumbia song, or, you know, I think it's really going to, people that are into the Codefendant sound and, you know, the way we organically go to different spaces musically, I think they're really going to like this new album.
Dude, I love hearing that. So that said, do you feel that Lifers and the single Rivals is partly like a middle finger to genre purists saying, fuck it, we play by our own rules?
Yeah, definitely. At least like the lyrics I'm saying are just like, when we first came out as Codefendants, a lot of the punk purists were like, they hate rap, a lot of them, but I don't think that's everybody, clearly. But when they started hearing rap on the Codefendants record that was aligned with Fat Records and whatever, they were really mad about hearing rap. And so this was sort of a middle finger to all that. Like, this is our version of punk. Is punk to me has always been more about energy and community and I don't know, just an anti-authoritarian stance in general. It's like, that's my version of punk. So it really never had much to do with genre, including the early days when dub reggae was all over punk music in England. It's like, it's always been a punk rock as we know it has sort of, has changed many times, but it's always been kind of open to genre shifting, in my opinion. So people who are trying to gatekeep that, I think, is bullshit. So that's sort of what we're talking about.
Agree with that. You got anything to add to that one, Sam?
Nah, people can chime in with their 2 cents. Like, everybody can have their opinion of like what. There's so many subgenres within every genre, and there's subgenres and subgenres now. It's just like, it's too subjective to even have a rational conversation about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People just look at music as being music anymore. And to me, that's kind of encouraging to a certain extent.
Yeah. I mean, we're from generations of like skate videos and stuff where it was, it was like Helmet, and then The Far Side, and then Fugazi, and then like the Minutemen, or like Mike Watt or something, so all the way to like Fleetwood Mac. So you really got the broad strokes of all these different genres. And then we came up and there were iPods and the fucking shuffles. And now, it went from there being, the stoner metalheads, the jocks and the cowboys, and that's all they listened to was their specific genre of music. And that's how they identified with their, social groups. Now it's just a melding pot of everything. Like, you don't know who knows about what, So I love it. I love this direction that it went in, because it's just like, it opens up to me a lot more music, and to everybody else in the world a lot more music than they would have normally have to listen to. If you were born in fucking 1918, having to listen to a fucking piano,
So what's the biggest evolution between This Is Crime Wave and Lifers?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think I would say, from my perspective, Fat Mike's involvement on Lifers, he stepped it up and became a lot more involved with the production of the whole thing. Of course he produced the first one as well, but the first album, we kind of brought most of that album to him before he was involved. I think with this one, he's super involved in every step of the way, like obsessively involved. You know what I mean? So I think that was the big difference. Even though all of us wrote, and yeah, there are a lot more tracks that like Fat Mike had, basically wrote the music for on this album. While on the first album, he only wrote maybe 2 or 3 parts of the album. So yeah,
I don't know. I'm just glad it's done so we can write more like new stuff. I'm always just into writing new shit. I'll revisit all these songs when it's time to go like tour, and we got to play them all to like push the album. But I'm just like focused on doing all this new stuff that we're currently working on. So,
dude, I think that's the internal struggle of every musician. I know back in the day when I was playing in bands, it was like I'd be on the verge of a CD release party, and I'd be like, dude, I'm ready to just release the album after this. I'm over this one already.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see albums like that, because when the albums are done, it is kind of, it encapsulates that one specific moment in time, the year or the 2 years that it took to make it. And so every time you go back and you revisit it and you listen to it, you're going to, like, those emotions and shit are going to come back up. But, as a musician, if you got a 12-song album, by the time you get to the 12th song, like, the first song sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're 11 songs better as a musician. And so, and you've had to listen to all those songs over and over just to even to record them. And then you have to go tour them and you got to do this. So it's like, I don't know. I just really enjoy the feeling of writing new shit.
The songs don't suck, but you just lose perspective when you have to, chip away at it over and over again for years. So
it's like saying the same word over, like when you say the same word over and over and over again, just, it just after, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it just loses the fact that it's a word and it's just like this weird sound now.
Right.
It's
right.
like,
You almost gain the same perspective when you walk away from a song or a group of songs for a long period of time, and then you come back and revisit them again.
Absolutely. Like I've been digging up a lot of old stuff from when I was like a teenager when we were doing like the underground hip hop stuff. And it's cool to like just listen to where you're, it's like a time capsule, You're like, damn, I was super stupid back then.
Does Lifers feel like a more personal or more confrontational album than the last one?
I don't know. In some ways, for sure. Like, think about that last song. The last song on the record I think it's confrontational because we were dealing with a lot of the issues that came out of struggles with management and agencies from when we first started Codefendants. So we were sort of reacting to that in a way. Like if you listen to De La Soul's first album and then listen to their second album, De La Soul is Dead. This is sort of like our De La Soul is Dead in the sense that we're reacting to the initial response and all the business shit that we had to deal with for the first time and all the touring and management and agencies that we had to deal with the first album. So that this is kind of like that record. And in a way, it is more confrontational, But I don't know if I think the first album's pretty fucking personal. So
I feel that it's like that when we came in at a weird time, like right as COVID was ending. And then we also came in and with a style of music that wasn't easily put anywhere or categorized anywhere. So we were kind of just like, nobody really knew what to do with us. We made, and we just fucking, me and Ceschi had a conversation about it before we signed up with anyone or even let anyone fuck with it, was that we were like, look, we have the original demos that we have before any of the labels like even hear it. And if they go do some cornball shit with our stuff, we have the original stuff that we made. And we can just say like, hey, look, this is what we did. And I feel like the time that we came in was right at that weird, awkward moment where everybody was kind of realizing that whole system with the label and these fucking 40 leechers that have these weird fucking jobs that are just filling things. It's an antiquated system now. And the gatekeeping shit is all falling apart because there's too much information out there. Everything's open source now. If you have a fucking half of a brain and a personality and can like speak with other human beings, you can book your own shit. You can manage your own stuff. You have to just build your own team. You can't let people come in and fucking blow smoke up your ass about what they've done or who they know and how they're going to fucking do all this stuff for you. It's like a coke dealer who's never they always got fire. I got the fire. This is pure coke, no, like don't ever buy off anyone that says it's pure, buy off the dudes is like, yeah, this is normal ass coke, bro. It's just mid, at least you can trust that person. But I feel like that's the shape of the record labels when we came in, or at least the people that fucking got thrown into our cipher, which were a few, couple bad apples, but they were just like, that's what they were. They were like, oh, it's fire, it's fire, it's fire, it's fire. And then just shit the bed around every corner. And we paid for it. We had to take a whole year basically off to regroup. But now we have an amazing fucking team. And the people at Regime are fucking killing it.
Yes.
Our manager, Phil, is just fucking, I don't know. It's great. It's great. I like it. We really like where we're going right now and trying to put it all together so we're in charge of what's going on, and everybody that's on the team is equally distributed the fucking income when it comes in because everyone works just as hard. So
I love that, man. I love that. You guys have another single coming soon. It's called Lonely Life. Jakob Nowell stars in the video. I have watched a sneak preview of the video, and anybody that's watching or listening to this, dude, you got to check it out the minute it drops. It's absolute fire. How did that connection with Jakob happen?
Oh, that happened with
Ceschi.
the Regime team that we've been working with, which we just shouted out. Jakob and Sublime work with Regime, that they are managed, and basically they run the distribution and everything for Sublime as well. So we started working with them earlier this year, and actually, well, sorry, not earlier, this last year, about end of last year, and Kevin at Regime hooked that up. Like he introduced us to Jakob. Jakob was injured during the shoot, and he was on tour with his band Jacob's Castle, and came all the way down from the Bay Area to South Central LA first thing in the morning to shoot that, and was such a trooper. It was super cool.
After playing a show with a broken leg, he drove fucking down with his homie and made it. He thought he was just under the impression he was going to be doing like a walk-on role or just some background stuff. And there was like, day of, they're like, nah, he's the main person in the videos. He had like a full day of work ahead of him. He's an awesome fucking dude.
Yeah, we were there basically all day till like 11 at night shooting that video, and he was a trooper the whole way and super cool.
That's amazing. So what can fans that haven't seen it yet, I don't know when this is going to drop exactly, what can they expect visually from the video?
They used the cameras that they filmed Dune with, the Dune movies, and the show Severance. So it's like really clean. I don't know. It's fucking futuristic-y.
Yeah, so it represents, some of my lyrics, and especially like the first verse of the song is about alienation in modern times, right? Like feeling like we're connected to everybody through social media, whatever, yet still feeling alienated and not really connected at all. So the director took those lyrics and kind of made this concept of us being in this glass box while all this kind of paparazzi is looking at us, and Jacob's playing the role of an office worker who's losing his fucking mind in this glass box while everyone's staring and pointing fingers at him. And so yeah, that's kind of the concept behind it.
Love it. I love it. And you guys have a show coming up, I think, March 5th with Jacob's Castle as well?
Yeah, and that's a showcase for Regime that we're just pretty much everyone, a bunch of the groups involved with Regime. Regime also goes way back with in the hip hop world as well, dealing with Dilated Peoples and Everlast and House of Pain, and they go way back with a lot of acts in hip hop, but this is more on the rock side of things, and it's a showcase for the groups that they're involved with.
I love it. I love it. Now, you guys have shared stages with Exhibit, Dilated Peoples, who you just mentioned, DJ Quick, and of course, as we talked about working with the D.O.C, that's some rare air to be breathing. What have you guys learned from hip hop royalty like that?
Well, I learned that Mike learned not to walk into people's recording booths while they're recording, or they're fucking miming, trying to tell them what to do.
What's that story?
It was just like a funny moment where we were with one of the dudes from Wu-Tang, and he was doing a verse, and Mike was like, I don't like how he's doing his verse. He's like, I got to tell him how to spit that. And I was like, Mike, like, you don't go tell the man. No, Mike, just don't do it. And so he like fucking went in there and did it, and the dude was like, yo, man, you better get the fuck out of this fucking mic booth. Like, let me do what the fuck I'm supposed to do. I was in the engineer shit just laughing. I was like, fuck, man, that's so funny. But it's been, like I said before, it's just like extremely, extremely humbling, and we're super fortunate to be in some of the circles that we get to be in and actually get like paid attention for like music and stuff. So, I think that our main goal is just to like just stay doing what we've always been doing, and that's just be fucking weird music people, weird music artist types, you know?
Yeah, like for me, I feel like I came up more in hip hop. I did solo stuff for over 20 years, and I came up, even though I was in bands early on and doing hardcore and punk rock kind of stuff, I came up more in hip hop, and I got to meet a lot of my heroes in hip hop early. Now over the last few years, I've been meeting a lot of my heroes from punk rock. And we're sharing stages with Descendants and Circle Jerks and people like that. It's insane for me, even though it's kind of been the opposite. Like Sam has been in that punk rock world a lot more, ever since Get Dead started. So yeah, it's been a big shift for me. But yeah, hip hop is actually something I'm a little more accustomed to being around, and those OGs, so it's been cool.
Whether it be punk or hip hop, is there somebody that's still on your dream collaboration list that you haven't worked with yet?
Tom Waits.
That's a good choice. I say Andre 3000.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Gosh, both of you guys, great answers.
Well, I mean, hey, Erica Badu,
Hey,
you know? I'll be able to put in good work.
Damn. So any of the artists that you've worked with, whether it be in either community, have any of them given you advice that's kind of stuck with you over the years?
Fat Mike told me a long time ago when, after Get Dead got signed to Fat Records, was that the most punk rock thing you can do is apologize. And the only other thing I heard was if you wanted to have longevity within the music industry, especially if you're going to be in a band, that you can't have resentment towards other people getting opportunities that you think that you should have gotten, or, you think that you deserve this because you've put in this much time doing it. It just doesn't work like that. Like, you got to be doing it just to be doing it. I mean, between me and Ceschi, we have probably over 50 years of, playing for three people, on the floor, coffee shops and shit. So not ever thinking, it was like being a skateboarder back in like 1990 or something, it's like, there's nowhere you're going to go with it. You're doing it because you have to do it. It's, you just got to stick with it and do it because you love doing it, and it'll show up, or it won't. I don't know.
How about you, Ceschi?
Yeah, I just learned over the years that the thing that's been the most effective and what I've seen is a combination of just what I call illogical persistence. It's kind of what Sam's talking about. You don't persist just because you're seeing things happen as far as your career or whatever. You do it because it's something that doesn't even make sense. You have to drop everything and make yourself have no other option. And I've had older, more established artists kind of tell me that as well. When you look at music as a hobby and not your entire life, that's kind of when you start letting go of it. You know what I mean? Another thing I've learned is that comfort is the death of creativity.
Yes.
The more comfortable you are, the less you're pushed to create something that makes you feel. And I've experienced that in small degrees, so I kind of see it.
We experienced it when we lived with when we moved out here to Vegas with Mike. We lived in like this straight mansion. We had like a waterfall and a trampoline in the ground, and there was ping pong tables and pool tables and a movie theater, and the whole Fat Records recording studio is down in the basement. I didn't write one fucking song for a year. We finished a couple songs, but I didn't write one song for a year. And then when the day I was like, I'm not going to be staying here, I'm going to like be grabbing my own spot. The day I just said that, like 3 songs came out in like a week.
Yeah.
And it's because, like Ceschi just said, like, it's a weird fucking thing because you don't want to get cliche with it, and you don't want to say that like, you have to suffer to make art, But at the end of the day, it is what it fucking is. Nobody wants to hear how tight the mansion is, or how tight the fucking tour bus is, or fucking how much, how many songs are about being happy. I mean, probably 3 of them.
Right.
You got Don't Worry, Be Happy. You got Happy. And if you're happy, and you know it, clap your hands. There's like 3 fucking songs, nobody gives a shit. So, but that being said, it's like, my friend Jabber has some stickers. He does stuff with Incline. He's a great artist, but he's got stickers that says you don't need a lot to have enough.
Yes. Those are good words, man.
So it's you gotta just kind of keep your ego in check and make sure that if you're getting extras, the people around you are getting run off of that.
Yeah. So when Lifers drops April 3rd, what do you want people walking away with?
Fucking 3 copies each.
No shit.
Honestly, as far as when they listen to the record, I just hope that it could alter some of their perspectives. Like anytime I release a record, sometimes I think about how much a single sentence can change someone's day. Sometimes you could walk into a room and scream something and it changes someone's entire perspective on life. And I think there are moments on this new album that could do that, or at least help people think about the state of the world a little bit better, or think of the state of their own lives a little more. I mean, that's all we could hope for with art. It's us having a conversation with other people about what we're experiencing, and hopefully, if they could connect with it in some way, that's the goal. That's all it's ever been.
So, what does success look like for Codefendants in the rest of 2026?
Work. That's it. That's all we want to do is work.
Just consistent work. Yeah, just consistent.
We're really excited to be getting our whole band is like now solidified with our friends from Zeta. We have Tony and Chino, and then we also have Marcel, who's doing our sound everywhere we go, who's really like dialed it in. And this year we get to try to carve out as much time as we can with Zeta to actually write music with them instead of getting the music to play, because they're all such amazing musicians. And I'm really excited to see what that psychedelic rock Codefendants meld type shit comes out with, because it's fun. I mean, it's playing with them is fucking amazing.
Dude, that's amazing. Album drops April 3rd, 2026. I'm stoked for it. I've heard it. I've heard a nice little sneak preview of it. I actually did a little drive around town Wednesday afternoon. Car was just bouncing full volume. I cannot wait for the rest of the world to hear it. Guys,
thank you.
Let everybody know that's watching or listening where they can find you guys online.
The main place is Instagram. That's the most updated place, and we're Codefendants Legal Fund on Instagram. So
fuck yeah, I love
check that out.
Yeah, and we'll be releasing our own little website here coming up, where we're gonna have like more interactive stuff and more content coming out. And
codefendantslegalfund.com also. Yeah. And we're working on more stuff to connect even on a more personal level people directly, because Crime Wave is our community and our label that we're starting as well with the help of Regime, and so yeah, that's what's going down.
Yes,
I love it, guys. Guys, I have really enjoyed getting to know you. I would love it if, maybe a little later down the line, we circle back and we talk about things after the album drops.
Anytime, man. We're gonna be doing podcasting over here too. So we'd love to talk some shit back and forth. We're also gonna be having doing a reoccurring Fat Mike again. He's gonna come through and sit down periodically with us and do some stuff. So we look forward to it, man. Thank you very much for having us on here. We really do appreciate it.
Sam, Ceschi, thank you. The Codefendants, guys, check them out online. Guys, the world is a much better place with you in it. Thanks for doing the show.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, man.